we bring in a friend who we've known for years and years and years. He's an author, relationship therapist, Dr. R.G. Allen Wilson.
Some expert advice on how we can all talk to them. Joining us now is relationship expert Dr. R.G. Allen Wilson. She's the author of Courageous Conversations Connect. Good morning, R.G.
Good morning. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning, Janelle. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
And as we mentioned, a lot of people just dealing with anxiety during all of this. What are your suggestions?
Some of the things that we need to remember is that this is temporary. This is temporary inconvenience for long-term gain. And as long as we stay healthy, Janelle, then everything else is recoverable.
Talk to your children about what's happening right now. What are the best ways to do that?
There's some do's and don'ts, right? So you want to tell them that you're going to be here. We're going to be okay. Kids want to know that they're secure and they're safe. So predictability, structure, and consistency. You also want to let them know you have a plan. And even if you don't have a plan, tell them that you're working on one. And good morning, everyone. Welcome. This is Dr. RG, yours truly. Today is Wednesday, October 14th, 2020. This is the 30th week, believe it, 80th episode. Unbelievable. This is the Courageous Conversations Connect Space Quarantine Talks. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I see Charla is already on. We've got a great show for you. I missed you guys. I always do now that we've gone to once a week. But do me a favor, as I always ask you before we actually get busy with our conversation, going over and text a friend or tag them or share this post or this video. If you haven't already, go over to the YouTube page and hit the subscribe button, or subscribe to our YouTube page and hit the notification button so you'll know that we're on. Good morning, Deborah. Welcome to the show. And we've got a great show for you. So we'll just go to the commercial, and we're going to take a quick break from our sponsors. We'll be right back, and then we will get into what our topic for today is going to be, as well as our breathing exercises. So we'll be right back. Stay with us. And it's yours truly, Dr. RG here. We are talking about focus and faith for the home stretch. That's right. Focus and faith for the home stretch. Y'all know every single week up until November 3rd, we're going to be talking about voting. I've got my Cycle to Vote t-shirt. Shout out to Lauren Kahn. They had a wonderful event this past Saturday. Honoring John Lewis. I just saw the video for it last night. Looked like they had an amazing time. I happened to be, Morgan and I, at our nephew's wedding. And so we weren't able to participate. Shout out to our nephew, Kyler Grigsby, and his new wife, Essence Grigsby. They got married on Saturday. It was a beautiful, socially distant wedding at my sister and my brother's house, Kelly and Quentin Terry. And we had a wonderful time. So shout out to them. Listen, Black love matters, and love always wins. And I just want to go on the record and say, love trumps hate. Yeah, I said it. Love trumps hate. Hey, Jen, thank you for joining. She says, good day, mommy. Sending love and blessings sent your way. Always great seeing you. Thank you so much. I'm sending love and light your way as well. Hey, Helen, thanks for joining the show as well. Listen, so I just want us to really be thinking about having a conversation. There's a lot going on in the world. We are watching, if you're home, like I am working, I have the TV sometimes in the background. So I'm watching the confirmation hearings for the appointed judge to the Supreme Court. And it's very interesting because really, we've not learned a whole lot of things. There's a lot of dodging of the questions. It's clear that this particular judge is very, very smart. I'm still, I think, grieving over the notorious RBG, who went on, and her wish was that, she said her most fervent wish was that the people would decide, and that a new judge would not be put onto the Supreme Court until this election, so that the people could decide. And so that's not happening based on power. Who's in power? In many cases, it's really all about power. So let's just think about this concept. When I thought about the topic today of the home stretch, what is required for a home stretch? We are in our fourth quarter, right, of the year. 2020 has absolutely been a doozy. Some people are saying out with 2020, out with the old, in with the new, cancel 2020. I don't say cancel 2020. I don't want to cancel 2020. There's too much to learn from 2020, but it's not over. So we need to continue to stay vigilant. We need to stay focused. We need to have faith, and we need to figure out what is it that we're made of in this last quarter. And so you can look at it from a lot of different perspectives. November 3rd is actual election day. But if you saw yesterday, their lines are off the chain. People are lined up. They want the opportunity to vote. And remember, voting was not always a privilege that we were given. Many women, over 100 years ago, did not have the right to vote. We know that Black people did not have the right to vote, Black and brown people. And it wasn't until 55 years ago until they had the Voters Act. And so, these particular policies that are put in place oftentimes are put in place. They're supposed to be for the people, by the people, with the people. But in actuality, they're not necessarily for the people, and they certainly aren't always by the people. And so we do have to stay vigilant, and we have to figure out how is it that we combine both faith and focus and faith for this home stretch. And what is it even that we mean about home stretch? Well, we're going to talk about that. I want to hear from you all what your home stretch is. For me, it's November 3rd, right? And people are already voting, and they're early voting. We're going to talk a little bit about the details for those people who are in Philadelphia. And if you have, from wherever you are, specific details about voting, this is a platform for you to be able to share that. So if you have specific issues that you know that are coming up and you want people to know, people share these videos, and they stay in the archives on Facebook, on YouTube, as well as IG. So please let us know. Jen says, I've been in training for being a poll worker and going really well. A lot to learn to start work for the early voting soon. Awesome, Jen. Awesome. Jen says, my cousins are in Atlanta, stood in line for 7 hours. Wow. That is commitment, right? That is commitment. When Mandela was released from prison, and he was there for many, many, many years. Can you imagine being incarcerated for that many years in solitary confinement for crimes that you didn't commit? When he got out, South Africa made a decision, and they didn't just stand in line for hours. They were in line for days. And this is why people are saying, have a plan, create a plan, tell your family about your plan, ask them what their plan is. We know that people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. And so you need a plan, whether you're going to vote early, whether your state or your district has early election. They're calling them satellite election centers. We have 17. I believe that there's 8 that have already opened up. Another 1 is going to be opened up this week, so that'll be 9. With the goal of staffing more of those so that by next week, hopefully all 17 will be open. So you can actually go to those early voting centers and cast your vote. If you don't have a ballot, you can register for your ballot right there, then get your ballot, fill it out, and turn it in. I suggest that you actually go online and register for your ballot online. It's very simple. It'll save you some time. And then we move forward with that. Every vote counts. Charlotte said she voted on Friday. Yay. Excellent. Every single vote counts. By all means, Helen says vote. So let's do this, guys. We're going to really get into this conversation because I really want to know what your home stretch is. What does that look like for you with voting and with other things? We're still in the midst of a pandemic. We still have this virus that's raging, and it's really kind of rearing its ugly head all over the country, all over the world. I just heard some new news about, I forget where this was, but it was a woman who had coronavirus, and then she was diagnosed again and she died. The first person that died from getting it twice. So we need to buckle up because this ride is real, and we need to be fit for the fight, as we talked about several weeks ago, and we need to figure out what our focus is and what our faith is. In the meantime, and in between time, we need to do our breathing to get ourselves ready for this process. So you all know what we do. We put in the chat who we're breathing for and with, right? And then we go into our breathing. We breathe 5 times. Breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. We hold it for 8 seconds. We have not forgotten about George Floyd, who had a knee on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. And then even after the last breath left his body, the officer kept the knee on the neck, even after he had died. He had been murdered. So we hold it for 8 seconds in honor of George Floyd and so many other Black and brown men and women and children who have died at the hands of bad police. Not all police are bad, but these are bad police. And then we breathe out. We also want to make sure that we're breathing in oxygen and out carbon dioxide, breathing in hope and freedom and calm and peace and love and serenity, and breathe out worry and fear and angst and anger and frustration and resentment. All right. I see Deborah's on. Hey, good morning, Deborah. Good morning. Sydney's on. Hey, girl. Thank you for joining. She says, good morning, Dr. RG and FBF. And then Helen says, I took my mail in ballot to Roxborough High School. I'm still staying home, only going out when necessary. When we come back, Helen, I want you to tell me how it was when you went to Roxborough. I want to know what that experience was, because I'm going to read off the various sites in Philadelphia where they have the satellite election centers. Okay, so let's get into our postures. Middle finger to the thumb, or one hand over the next, or you can put your hands to your side. Kind of relax your shoulders a little bit. I think I slept the wrong way, so my back is a little stiff. All right. And at the sound of my voice, I'm going to count to 3, and we're going to breathe in. 1, 2, 3. Breathe in. And breathe out. That felt good. Breathe in. And breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. One last time, crew. Make it count. Let's go. Breathe in. And breathe out. That felt good, right? We need to breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide, right? And breathe in all those wonderful things. We know that when we breathe in more oxygen into our bodies that goes into our lungs. It expands our lung capacity. We need oxygen for all the different parts of our bodies to make our bodies function at its optimal capacity. We also know, quite frankly, that there are more people that are still getting infected by COVID-19. This is not over. I don't know that this is the second wave or we're still in the first wave, but there's some new information. I mean, this is a novel virus, so we're still learning things, right? We know that it attacks your lungs. We know that people can get pneumonia. But what we didn't know, per se, is that people could actually get this virus twice and die from it, or get it twice. They're saying that you have immunity, but how long does that immunity last? There's a young boy that I heard about this morning that got COVID-19 in April. Then he got it again in June, and it was worse. And when he got it in June, he still had the antibodies in his body from the first COVID-19. So you all know, you know how you can get a cold multiple times. You know how your children, if they go to daycare or what have you, they can spread the cold virus. Well, coronavirus is just one of the strains of what we would normally get with a cold. The only difference is, and the major difference is, colds don't particularly kill you, but this coronavirus COVID-19 can. And so there are multiple strands. It's actually morphing into the various strands, or if you will, and we just have to be very, very careful. This is not over. So we are in for the long haul. There's also studies that are being done right now that are specifically interviewing people who have gotten coronavirus, and they're calling it the long haul. The long haul meaning that you've gotten it and you still have symptoms that come about much later on after you've started to feel better, and then you still have these symptoms. Blood clots people are having, headaches, depression, still loss of taste and smell, some loss of hearing from what I hear. So this is a very, very dangerous thing, and we should not continue to take it lightly. We are in this for the long haul. I've also heard that in the winter months, like we live in Philadelphia in a region where it's going to get cold. And it seems that this virus picks up steam, and it actually has the potential to have more virus in the atmosphere under enclosed doors than if you were to outside. So you know how, it took me a little while for Morgan and I to sort of go out and do some outdoor dining, if you will. So I didn't do a whole lot of indoor dining, but outdoor. They're saying, that the virus, it doesn't have a lot of power in the outside elements, if you will, but in the inside, it does have a capacity to get stronger and to increase its viral load. And so that's why people are really thinking about the holidays when that's coming up. Thanksgiving is coming up. We know many people all over the world celebrate Thanksgiving. Even Dr. Fauci said that he would not be celebrating Thanksgiving with his family. And he has, I think, 3 daughters that are adult. And he's not going to be celebrating because one, doesn't want to get sick himself. And I'm sure that he doesn't want to make any one of his family members sick. That would be the worst case scenario. To forge ahead, have Thanksgiving dinner, give thanks for all that we've accomplished and all that we've grown through in 2020. And then someone in your family gets sick or you get sick, and then Lord forbid somebody dies. So I'm encouraging people to really think about what you need to do to keep yourself and to keep your family safe. This isn't over. And as it relates to November 3rd, as we've been saying, as we heard our, what would be my first lady, Michelle Obama said, vote like your life depends on it, because it does. Create a plan, talk to your seniors, help them out. Make sure that if they actually have to get to the polls, that you go with them, or if you want to take them to an early voting center, they actually have to be the one to deliver, because in Philadelphia, in this region, or Pennsylvania, you can only deposit one ballot. So you can't go in there and say, I got one for me and I got one for my mom. Can't do that. So they either have to go, or there is a form that you can find online where you can fill it out and they can give you the rights to deliver their ballot if they're unable to deliver it. So there are multiple things that you need to pay attention to. We're going to be trying to put out as much good information as we possibly can for this home stretch. Jen says, my plan for the home stretch is all about November 3rd. I have my ballot and will be voting early in person. A change must come for America. We need a president that's dedicated and caring, and also put an end to this virus. The numbers of Staten Island are spiking up again. I will be returning back to work for my new job in a few weeks. Awesome, Jen. Thank you so much for sharing what your plan is, and also congratulations on your new job. Helen said, it was easy to walk up and drop it in the box. Okay, they did have a box there. There is someone to monitor that. You are the only casting one ballot. That is a sign, and that is signed and sealed, and it was easy. Okay, so Helen, what you're telling us is there a box that is actually at the satellite early voting center, so that if you have your ballot you just drop it in the box. That's interesting to know, because I don't think I was aware of that. This is why I think that people were saying that you need to register to get your early ballot. It makes it easier, because if not, you still can go to that same site and register to vote up until October 19th. So we've got like 4 or 5 more days in order for you to register to vote. You can go online at Philadelphia Votes PA. I think that's what it is. I'll get that correct in a second. Or you can go to vote as well. PA Votes. PA Votes. And Helen says that document must be notarized. Oh, okay. Thank you for telling us about that. I didn't know that document has to be notarized if you're going to drop off somebody else's ballot. My plan actually is to take my dad to the voting place if he needs to. Here's the number for PA, 1-888-833-PA votes, which translates into 728-6837. That's 1-833-728-6837 or PA votes. Also, Morgan is turning around to show you that you can, on the cycle to votes, you can scan to register to vote and scan to mail in vote on the scans. And I think what we can do is maybe post that up as well and send you to the link so that you can scan and go right in and register to vote if you want, and also register for early voting. And you can share that with other people as well. I'm sure that everybody on the crew is already registered. I know that for a fact. Every fiber in my body tells me that everybody in our crew is registered to vote. Now, whether or not you actually are registered for early voting, I'm not sure, but everybody needs to have a plan, if you will. There's focus and faith for the home stretch. www.cycletovote.com is where you can go to get more information. Like I said, they had their big event honoring John Lewis in their cycle to vote. They were going out to various places to get more people involved and engaged. And we've got to stay engaged, guys. We cannot get tired right now. This is what the home stretch is about. We've got to get energy. We've got to get revitalized. We've got to get refueled. And we have to get to November 3rd. And this is the biggest election, and I believe the most important election of our lifetime. So don't miss it. If we don't vote, then we can't speak up, and we certainly can't complain. Deborah says, we have not been able to find a drop box location in my county in Texas. They are out there, but it's limited on purpose as a deterrent. I had heard about that, Deborah, that I had heard that your governor and the Secretary of State were blocking it and only having drop boxes like one per district or county or something like that. Unfortunately, in Philadelphia, the drop boxes aren't out yet either in the various locations that they said that they would be. However, the early satellite election centers are in play right now, and I know for a fact that they have 9 already. Helen has already talked about the one in Roxborough. There's one in, Morgan is going to share something, but I'm going to read off the ones that I know are already in play.
Hold on, I want to make sure Deborah, real quick, I want to make sure Deborah, all you have to do is just contact your local congressman or senator, state senator in your district, or your council person. I mean, I'm quite sure the Democratic Party in Texas is strong, alive, and well, and really has a lot of information. So you should be able to contact or go online, Google who your state representative and your senator is and so forth, and they can point you in the right direction to let you know where your box is. So it should be no excuse not to get that box.
What's happening, babe, though, is that they are limiting it. So you have to drive miles and miles and miles to get.
But I'm quite sure that Democratic Party in Texas has some other kind of way, resources or something. They have something to mitigate that. I'm quite sure. So Deborah, just reach out and call, and I'm quite sure they can figure that out for you.
All right, thanks, babe. So I wanted to share the locations in Philadelphia, the early satellite voting areas. One is in Center City,
I think someone already said that. Center City, it's at City Hall, room 104. That's at 1400 JFK Boulevard. Then there is the second one is in far northeast, George Washington High School. That's 10175 Bustleton Avenue. Then someone already mentioned, Helen, that one is at the Leah Core Center. That's in the north part of Philadelphia, 1776 North Broad Street. Then the northwest, Roxborough High School. Helen has already actually gone there and said it was very smooth. That's 6498 Ridge Avenue. In the southwest, Tilden Middle School. That's 6101 Elmwood Street. Upper north is Julia DeBargos Elementary School. That's 401 West Lehigh Avenue. And then in the west, there's Overbrook. I hear that Overbrook Elementary School, they actually have a very smooth process. They've been in play for over 3 weeks now. That's at 2032 North 62nd Street. So those are the ones that I know specifically are in play. And then they're opening up more as well. I'm waiting for them to do the AB Day School because that's right near us at 6324 Crittenden Street, but I haven't seen that yet. So I think what I'm going to do is make sure that we copy and paste this on our Facebook page and on our IG page so that everyone in our area would know that. Cynthia Talley said Elmwood. Did I say Elmwood? I don't know. Is that one open, Cynthia? Let us know if Elmwood is open as well. All right. And then Deborah said there are voting mail in boxes at Tilden in the Southwest Philadelphia area. Okay, and process was smooth and easy, very organized. Excellent. Morgan, we can always take our ballots to the post office. Yes, you can definitely take your ballots to the post office. I, for one, that is not my plan. I'm not really trusting the post office right now, but everybody has to make their own decision. The thing about the post office is they dismantled all those sorting machines and they never replaced them. And they sold them for parts. I know for a fact they sold them for parts. And so while they did make sure that they had the money for postal workers to work overtime, even people that were working in the post office said like it might not have been a great idea. Yes, you said I said it's Elmwood Avenue. Elmwood Avenue. Okay, awesome. Thank you for that. So, guys, this is very, very serious stuff, and our democracy is at stake right now. I'm not sure if you heard on the news that in California, they said that there were fake drop boxes being placed in areas where people were then dropping their ballots into those drop boxes, and therefore it's not a part of the election, process, and their votes were not counted. So we have to be very, very, very careful. Tilden is next to Bartram Main Building. Awesome. I don't know that area very well, so thank you for that, Cynthia.
I was about to jump in and say that because, of course, that's my high school. I mean,
Yeah.
But Cynthia took my thunder a little bit there. But it's right next to Bartram High School. You can't miss it. It's right next door to it. So
awesome. So what is it? What, guys? I want to hear for you. Like, this is our fourth quarter. I tend to think in the fourth quarter we think about what have we accomplished in the last year since 2020 has been so rough, right? What have you learned? What were your takeaways? How will you use those going into 2021? Those things, those lessons that you learned. By the way, I think it's going to be the 27th. That's not next week. Is that next week, the 27th? I don't think so. The following week, I'm going to be. I'll post that on the page. I'm going to be talking about with a group called Scary Mommies. I'm going to be talking about on a panel the upside of lockdown. What do we learn about being locked down, in quarantine, all those kinds of things? And you all have been with us every step of the way as a part of the crew. We got to utilize what we've learned about our resilience, about our determination, about our grit. I know some people say that, they may be tired or maybe emotionally exhausted. Maybe some of us have, pandemic fatigue, if you will, or COVID fatigue. but we got to find somewhere deep inside, tap into that source that is inside of us that allows us to know that we need to stay focused, and then we need to utilize our faith for this long haul or this home stretch. And as we think about that, come back with your stories about what is the one thing that has helped you to realize that you're stronger than you realized, than you thought, as you are fit for this fight. Think about that. Come back in the chat. We'll be right back. We're going to take a quick break from our sponsors. Stay with us. And this is yours truly, Dr. RG, back here. We are at Courageous Conversations Connect Space, Quarantine Talks. This is our 30th week. This is our 80th episode. We've been rocking and rolling since March in the very beginning of this process, and we are not done yet. And so today we're talking about how to focus and faith for our home stretch, whatever that is. And I've asked our crew to share with us in the chat what are the things that they learned that help them to be focused and have faith for this home stretch? What are they going to lose? I mean, what are they going to use, if you will? What are we going to use to get to the finish line, right? Home stretch is really all about the finish line. Anybody that's ever run, and you all tell me if you all are athletes on this crew, if you've ever run in a marathon, they tell you the hardest part is at the very end, because that's the home stretch. You did everything and you used everything you got to get there. But now you see the finish line right in front of you, and you've got to muster up all the energy that you can, your mental energy, your emotional energy, your physical energy, your spiritual energy to get to the finish line, right? And so this whole concept of finishing strong, what does that look like? For me, I know it looks like November 3rd. It looks like me casting my vote. It looks like me speaking up, showing up, standing up for what matters most in our democracy so that we win. Ultimately, we can do this. That's what it looks like for me. And what I have to really tap into is all of the things that, quite frankly, I've had to understand about myself, that I'm stronger than I realized, that I do have a wonderful partner that rocks this out with me every single day. I always say to Morgan, I wouldn't want to be in a quarantine with anybody else but him. And I certainly wouldn't want to go through a pandemic without my partner, who we really have made all these decisions together. And so what do you need in order to get to that finish line? Helen says, living alone, I'm enjoying my space. I sit on my porch. I talk to my neighbors. I talk to my children daily, and every picture from my travels and my faith. That's awesome. And so I love what you're saying, Helen, because you found a way to stay connected. I love the fact that you say you sit on your porch, because I love a porch. I love being able to and Morgan and I actually have started doing a lot of that, like nature, sitting outside and creating our own oases. But just even processing and talking with your neighbors, we don't do that anymore sometimes. Like, this whole concept of being neighborly. We live in what's supposed to be the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection, but sometimes people don't even know who their neighbors are. They don't even check in on them. So the fact that you say you talk to your neighbors, you talk to your children daily, and even you are looking at memories of pictures of your travels, and probably, thinking about, okay, well, 2021, it's on and popping, right? We're going to, be doing a little bit more traveling as well. So that's awesome. This final quarter, when I think about, and I want to encourage you all to think about who you are, right? Whose you are, and what you are. What have you accomplished? Whose you are, who you are, and what you are, and what have you accomplished in this last 8 months or so? How has that been beneficial to you? I also encourage you to think about, in terms of your focus and faith for this home stretch, what have you learned about yourself, your lessons learned, and where did you fall short? that's important to know too. Like in the very beginning, how did your fears block you? How did your fears, prevent you from moving forward? Were you in a holding pattern? Did you get paralyzed at some point? We often say fear and faith can never reside in the same space. And so sometimes those fears keep you bound from moving forward. And it's important to identify those particular fears so that they don't keep you stuck and paralyzed. Now, the thing about fear is not necessarily always a bad thing, right? We, as here at Faith Connects, we say that you can either use fear as the acronym for forget everything and run, or you can use fear as an acronym for face everything and remain, right? And that's where I want people to stay in concept with the concept of fear. Stay with the concept of, well, I'm going to face it. I'll face it, I'll trace it, and then I'll embrace it. Not face it, trace it, and erase it. Because once you face it and then you trace it, right, where's the fear coming from? Then you can begin to embrace, all right, I understand where this comes from. I can learn to manage this so that then makes me stronger, fit for the fight, so that I can use my focus, I can use my faith for this home stretch. And the home stretch simply means that I'm rocking us out, that we will not be denied. We will win and we will be victorious. But it's a mindset. Y'all know in Courageous Conversations Connect, I always talk about the pathway to reset your mindset with intentional thoughts from the inside out, because just like we are what we eat, let's think if you eat really bad, you feel really bad, we are what we think. And if we think things that are not positive, if we're negative in our thought process, if we're always in that stinking thinking space, if you will, then oftentimes that's not going to get us to where we need to go. And it certainly will not get us to the home stretch. So how do you reset your mindset? Has anybody on our platform today, has anybody thought about, giving up? Have you gotten tired or fatigued? And did you then have to reset your mindset to get yourself out of that negative space? What did that look like for you? What did you do to get yourself out of that negative mental space? Recalibrate, rejuvenate, refuel, then move forward. How did you do that? And then how do you stay in the space that helps you to continue to move forward, to get to the home stretch? So, for some reason, I was thinking a lot about John Lewis, and maybe because they honored him this weekend in Cycle to Vote. And what I was thinking about was that back then, and during the civil rights movement, and when they were marching on that Pettus Bridge, and they knew that they were going to face opposition, they knew that people who had more power than them were going to be equipped with weapons, guns, and bats and things like that. And yet they did it anyway. And I thought to myself, what kind of courage do you need to face opposition in that way? To face people who are trying to hurt and harm you, whether they're trying to hurt and harm you in the streets or hurt and harm you in the suites. What kind of courage do you actually need in order to use your faith to focus on getting to the finish line? That's the kind of faith and focus that I'm talking about. And how do you utilize that? Jen says, I find talking to my Creator every morning and night give me strength and guidance. Doing my prayer line with my church ladies, my meditation class on Thursdays, and reading my Jesus Calling book. I love Jesus Calling. And then gets me through every day in life. Can't leave out sitting on the porch with a cocktail in my hand. I understand that. I burn my white sage every night along with my incense to bring good vibes to my body and get rid of the bad negativity. I love all of that, Jen. I love that's why you're so positive. And here's what Jen reminds us of. She reminds us is that this process of staying engaged, this process of staying focused, this process of really infusing faith into our life, our mind, body, and spirit is an ongoing process. right? It's not that we just do it once and it's just a one-off or an outlier. It's a lifestyle. As you do that, then what happens is that even when obstacles come our way, even when we feel like we're tired or we're exhausted or we want to give up, there's something that we've already built up inside of ourselves that allows us to continue to move forward, but we kind of keep doing it. So when Jen talks about her prayer life, her connecting with positive people, her reading her meditation or her Jesus calling on a daily basis, and then sitting on a porch with a little cocktail just to relax, nothing wrong with that. Those are the things, that's her process. That's her rhythm, right? Her, how she continues to grow through her day. And everybody needs a process. Good music helps also. Y'all know what I know. Y'all know that this is our normal crew, right, on this line. So somebody tell me what the 4 M's are that help us to bookend our day with, because I've been sharing that with a lot of other people in seminars and they've been loving it. And I thought to myself, well, the crew knew first about the 4 M's. So somebody on this line, tell me what the 4 M's are. Jan Coker says, good morning, Dr. R.G. and Morgan. I have learned to do as you said. Have a love affair with myself, and some days to allow God to restore and refresh me. I was not focusing on my own physical and emotional health. I am learning to love on myself first. I can't help anyone else if I don't have anything in my emotional storage to give. I love that. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. If you guys are on the line with me, snap your hands, your fingers, so we can all feel that energy, right? About having a love affair with yourself, right? Because we really can't be any good to anybody else if we're not loving on ourselves. Y'all know I also say like is underrated. So as you're having a love affair with yourself, learn, even just write them down. The mechanics of writing. I'm a big writer. The mechanics of writing something down in your journal. I always encourage people to have a process journal and have a gratitude journal. The process journal is just writing down the process of what you're feeling and thinking when, good stuff happens, when bad stuff happens, and in between stuff, right? IG family, you with me? Facebook family, YouTube family, have a process journal, but also have a gratitude journal every single day. Just 1 or 2 sentences. What are you grateful for? How are you using the fact that you're still here, you're still living, you're still breathing, you're still engaging in life and humanity? How are you grateful for that? And that sometimes grounds us, because the truth is it doesn't have to be that way, right? There are over 200,000 people that have checked out of here since March due to COVID-19. Any of one of us, that could have been us. And for whatever reason, I believe that perhaps it's God's design and purpose that we're still here so that we can support and love on each other and learn to have a love affair with ourselves so that we can continue to do good in the world. That doesn't happen by accident. That is God's design. And so we need to be grateful for that. And then, help ourselves to be reminded that we have another chance, another opportunity to make life great. So I haven't seen the 5 M's. I know BJ knows. She just signed on. Good morning, BJ. Welcome to the show. I know you all know the 5 M's, so I'm not going to tell you, and Morgan's not going to tell you, but I asked everybody to book in their days with the 5 M's because I believe that helps us.
I almost slipped up and put up the 5 M's. I didn't do it this time. I didn't do it. When you were saying it, my mind was already there, so I was going to put the 5 M's up. And did someone not just hold on? Because I was about to preempt you again. You guys got to know the 5 M's. Come on, guys. You guys are, right. Messing around here. Somebody knows the 5 M's.
Oh, my goodness. And while we're waiting for that, Helen said her daughter's best friend died from the virus at age 50. Oh, this virus does not care. Y'all know that, right? It doesn't care the age. So we're going to be praying up for your daughter's best friend, who died from this virus. It doesn't care your age. It doesn't care about your gender. It doesn't care about your race. It absolutely does not care about your political affiliation, whether you're red or blue or independent. It doesn't care if you're polka dot. It actually is just coming for you. And we don't know why this virus is here, but we do know that we are still here and we have an opportunity to take care of each other and take care of ourselves. All right, here we go. BJ to the rescue. She says, music.
Billy Joe, we knew you knew.
Well, no,
We knew you knew.
she said music, meditation, movement, mindfulness. So there's one that she left out.
Yes, there is one. Yeah.
One she left out, right?
It's
So
five.
who knows the fifth one is the five M's, if you will. We'll wait a little bit, and as we're waiting, I want our crew, quite frankly, and I thank you for IG family for hanging in here. I thank you, Facebook family, for our YouTube family. One of the things I guess I was in my spirit to talk about is how, we sometimes don't like to ask for help. And even when we need it, and in order to be fit for the fight, in order to have focus and faith for the home stretch, sometimes we need a little bit of help. And it could be with a therapist like myself. You all know, even if I can't support you, if you all reach out to me, especially my crew, Connecting Relationships for Epic Ways, I'm going to try to guide you to someone that can be supportive of you. I'm doing this work every day, pretty much all day. And I know that there is a lot of darkness in the world, and there's a lot of pain. And while I fundamentally believe that we can turn pain into power if we appreciate the process, sometimes we need somebody to help us with the process. And so therapeutic intervention can be extremely helpful. It can help us to figure out what we already know. Maybe it's some confirmation, but it also may be that the therapeutic intervention helps us to understand what it is that we need to do to help ourselves to feel better, to be better, to show up in a different space in our lives. And sometimes that means, really, quite frankly, that we need to identify if we've kept people in our lives past their expiration date. Some people aren't very helpful to this growth process. So this home stretch, it can crystallize for us who adds to our lives, who subtracts from our lives, who divides in our lives, and who multiplies in our lives. And I would submit to you that those folks that are subtracting and dividing, those are people that are not adding to our lives, they're subtracting, and they're sowing division. Those people they may not need a front row seat in your life. But those people who are adding to your life and they're multiplying, we might need to relocate folks. Maybe not complete cutoffs. I'm not suggesting that you cut people out of your life unless they're actually harming you, like through abuse. But maybe we need to relocate some folks so that in those circles, that the people that are in your inner circle are the people that are going to sow life and light, speak light to you. As you know, I often say, sending love and light your way. I mean that. I mean that you need to have people in your inner circle that will illuminate. They illuminate with a smile. They illuminate with a kind word. They illuminate with a gesture. They sometimes send a text just saying, thinking about you, praying for you. Those are the people that we want in our inner circle, that they add and multiply. The people that are going to get out, a little bit of distance from us are people that, for whatever reason, they're not positive. And they may need to do a little bit of work on their own selves through therapeutic intervention to help them to get to a healthier place. Jen says, you're so right, mommy. Ever since I've been home on workman's comp, I have been fatigued and tired of being home. But I must say, with this virus that's with us, I feel safe at home. I went back to making homemade beaded bracelets. Keep myself busy. Oh, wow. That's nice. That's something I've always wanted to do. I don't have time to do it, but I've always wanted to make jewelry and things like that. I think that's kind of, maybe I'll do that in my retirement. That's not happening anytime soon, but that is wonderful, Jen. And, that's the thing that we're talking about, just kind of what are the things that feed our spirit? What are the things that help us? By the way, the other M, so we're going to do the 5. So the folks that are new to the platform will know. It's mindfulness, meditation, movement, get moving, meaningful engagement, and music. Why those 5? Well, mindfulness basically helps us to reset our mindset. It helps us to stay in the present as opposed to going too far back in the history, which you can't do anything about, or going too far in the future, which it has not arrived yet. So staying present in the moment. Meditation helps you to reset your mindset. Focus your intentions on what's positive for the day, what you're going to do, if you're going to impact someone, making a difference in you in every single day. Movement, we know, is going to help us, because if you stay too sedentary, your bones start getting stiff, the oxygen is not flowing through your body, your blood is not running through your veins. So you got to do some jumping jacks or run up and down the steps or take a walk at least to get some movement going on. Meaningful engagement is just what we're doing right now. We're having engagement with our crew, connecting relationships for epic wins. But you could also give someone a text, give someone a call. If you live with someone, tell them you love them. Do a kind gesture. Anything that helps people to feel a level of connection helps with meaningful engagement. And then we know that music is healing, right? And so whatever music you like to listen to, book in your day with listening to that music, right? Personally, India Arie, she is my music person. She is my music muse. If I had the talent, that is who I would be, India Arie. Now, I'd like to be like in my other life, maybe Sasha Fierce or Beyonce, but I don't really have with that. I don't have that. India Arie, I think I could pull that one off. And so that's the music that I listen to, or I like to listen to. I love her lyrics. They're wholesome, they're beautiful, they're engaging, and they illuminate light and love. And so that's what I'm about. And so I book in my day with those 5 M's that help to ground me. And I encourage you all to do that as well. BJ says she always forgets meaningful engagement. Morgan, I want my present. Yes, Morgan, you need to send BJ her present.
What do you mean, present? You owe me a present?
Yes.
What do you owe BJ a present?
Months ago.
What present do you owe BJ?
When she guessed it months ago, you never sent her present.
Really?
Yes, when we were doing the show downstairs. So make that happen.
My bad. Okay.
Make that happen.
All right, BJ, I'll make sure you get your present. No problem, BJ. You'll get your present.
No.
Okay. All right.
He gotta write it down.
BJ is not like, she's like, one of the iconic crew members.
She's
she was a crew member before they became a crew, So she's sort of like, grandfathered in. So some of these prizes, BJ, you just not going to be able to get because you have the inside scoop. You know a lot of this stuff. No?
You better send BJ her present. And send Bella one too. They're family. Right, DJ?
Oh my goodness.
Listen,
okay. All right, let's see what's going on here.
When the virus dies down, we must link up and I'll give you a class on how to make homemade jewelry. Awesome. And Helen says calls and cards to seniors who aren't on social media. Oh, I love that. Helen. You know what, Helen? That I hadn't really thought about that. I mean, I try to send cards to my seniors, but I'm thinking like maybe we can, as a crew, do something like adopt a nursing home and all send some cards to them or something like that. I know there's HIPAA compliant regulations so that you can't necessarily know, but maybe what we can do is just get first names of the seniors in a particular nursing home, and then everyone in the crew, I'll figure out the logistics of that, but I really like that idea that maybe we can do something together to help seniors feel connected, especially around the holidays. Maybe we can do something to send them a Thanksgiving card or, just a general holiday card, because we know there are different people in different faiths in various nursing homes. BJ said, I love and support regardless. We know we love you too, BJ.
We know.
Jen said, yes, we should. I would love to do that. All right, so we're gonna figure out the logistics of that. Probably not this week, because this week is the bear the rest of the week, but I'm gonna be thinking more about that. And next week we can come back, hold me accountable for what we said. Okay, guys. Paula Hardy said, I love this idea, calls and cards to seniors who aren't on social media. That would be a great idea. All right, so let's think about that, crew, and maybe put some logistic stuff together to see if we can make that happen. Jen Kroger, great idea. I have done a few members of my church. Awesome. I know that there's like a nursing home. There's a lot of nursing homes in here. Maybe what we'll do as a group, since people are from different areas, not everybody's from Philly, is maybe everybody in a crew, they adopt a nursing home in their area, and then they send their cards to that particular nursing home. But let me think about the logistics of that, and we'll talk a little bit more about that, because we want to make sure that we are doing things decently and in order, and that we're not infringing on any confidentiality or HIPAA regulations, right? So maybe they just need to be anonymous and we just write them out and send them. So this is what it called, and Morgan says he's absolutely right, bridging the gap, right? Bridging the gap. I have an affinity towards seniors. I have an auntie, my Aunt Dot, who's 90 years young, who I love dearly. I got to give her a call. My mom passed away at 80 years young, and I love her dearly. My dad is coming up on his 85th birthday on December 8th. And so, I have a lot of seniors in my family who I love dearly. And I think that, even outside of our families, we need to figure out ways to connect to people that we might not even know. But we do know that if this is hard for us in the midst of a pandemic, right? This has got to be hard for seniors. And these are people, by the way, if we live long enough, we'll be in that category, right? There are, stages in our lives. There are quarters, if you will, in our lives, just like there's quarters in our seasons. And that first quarter, you think you're invincible, 0 to 20. Second quarter, you're working on trying to figure out what adulting is, 21 to 40, 41 to 60. You should have figured it out by now, but things are a little harder to manage it all. And then 61 to 80, you're moving into hopefully retirement and enjoying life if you're still here. And then 81 and over, boom, overtime. You've won the game for sure. At the same time, it can be lonely at the senior level because sometimes you've got siblings that have died or they're, friends, and, it just can be very, very difficult, or there's a lot of loneliness and loss. And we need to reach out. We need to bridge the gap to all the generations, if you will. So we'll think more about that, but thank you for that idea. We're going to run with it. And Morgan is going to make sure that BJ and Bella get their gifts. So we put that on your
I gotta get Bella what, some treats?
Yes.
I gotta get Bella some treats. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll send Bella some treats. All right.
Exactly.
All right. Can't forget about Bella.
That's right. That's right. So this has been great, guys. Jen says my church family is actually doing that for the seniors in their church. We plan to send cards and a ton of cookies from the bake shop. Our elderly is extremely important, as well as can't have them out. For sure, they can't be out. I've worked in 2 nursing homes in my past work experience. I'll be happy to help. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, we got to figure this out because, it's a way to give back, but it's also a way, as Morgan said, to bridge the gap. Helen says, I do a phone call every Sunday after Sunday school to seniors so that they can listen to the service. Awesome. They have fallen in love with listening to Pastor Waller. Awesome. Yeah, you know what? In the very beginning, Helen, that we were thinking that all the seniors would be okay with listening to the service via the Zoom or Facebook, but they're not always on social media. So I think they finally figured it out, and they sent the phone number to those seniors so that they could call into and actually listen to the service. So that's awesome. BJ said, I love you both. We love you more, BJ. We love you more. We love all of our crew. And so listen, this has been about focus and faith for this home stretch. We are in the home stretch, right? Shout out again to Cycle to Vote. Cycle to Vote. I have the t-shirt on today. And Lauren Kahn, they're still doing the good work as they move towards November 3rd, which is election day. But election, quite frankly, has already begun. And many people are standing in long lines. So I'm also praying and breathing for all those people, no matter what party you are, no matter what way you vote, for all the people that are standing in line, that are actually moving towards making their vote count and casting their ballot. Every adult 18 and up should have the right to vote, their conscience, vote. Last week we talked about connecting with your heart and your vote. So everyone should have that right. And so I am praying and breathing for those persons that they would not be denied, that voter suppression would not take over, and that people all that want to vote, they would have the right to cast their one ballot, and that at the end of the day, that there would be victorious movement towards and creating an atmosphere of love and peace and respect for all human beings. That is what we need. Love, light, truth, and accountability, I believe, brings hope and freedom. And we need that. We need that more than ever before. And so we want to, on the show, make sure that we cast light and love, that we are a representative of the illumination of love and light. And so I thank you guys. I don't take it lightly. Helen says, have an awesome day on God's purpose. I wish all of you have a beautiful day. You all know we love you, and there's nothing that you can do about it. So have a beautiful day on purpose from our heart to yours, and we'll see you next Wednesday.